Good evening, Cherries fans, and welcome back to Up the Cherries in all departments and to this very, very special interview. Now, before I welcome on my special guest, here's a little bit about our sponsors, Dental on the Banks. To find out what they can do for you, visit dentalonthebanks.co.uk. Now, our interview is with a player who started his career at Tottenham Hotspur before loan moves to Chesterfield, Leyton Orient, and Gillingham. He did sign for Orient on a permanent basis and then made the move to Dean Court under Lee Bradbury and Steve Fletcher. Of course, this player was also part of the team that was not just promoted from League One, but also the Championship, and was virtually ever present in the Premier League. I think you probably know who he is, but he scored quite a special goal against Manchester City, which everybody, and to be honest, it is constantly on repeat as well, will remember. It is a pleasure to welcome onto Up the Cherries in all departments, the one and only Charlie Daniels. Good evening, Charlie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you two? Good?
Yeah, very well, thank you. And thank you so much for coming on this special show with us. So, first question, let's start from the very, very beginning, Charlie. What got you interested in taking up the game of football?
Cool, that is early. I don't know. I just think since I was born, really, like loads of people say, I just enjoyed kicking the ball about, and I got told obviously from mum and dad that from a very young age that I just drop kick a ball or just be in the garden, just running about with a ball, kicking the ball, and it just started from there, really.
Excellent stuff.
Did you start as a defender or in a different position?
No, I was a left winger up until towards youth, so academy. So when I started becoming, not even as a scholar, I was a left winger. So when I turned professional, so 18 years old, that's when I started to turn into a left back. It was Martin Yole who actually suggested it, and he's the one who converted me and told me that I'd be better playing left back, and it just started from there, really.
Who would you say, Charlie, was your first footballing hero, and who did you support as a youngster?
My first hero was David Beckham, because he grew up where I grew up. We played for the same Sunday League side, and obviously went on to what he did and what he achieved and what he brought to not only football but on the pitch but off the pitch as well, in terms of his stuff that he does for charity and that. And he's a big name back home. So well, not only back home but all over the world. We was in the same Sunday League side, so Ridgeway Rovers. We played. So Harry Kane famously played for them as well, and Josh Townsend. I think Mark Noble might have played a few games. So there's been a good number of footballers that have actually come through that. So I started off at Ridgeway, then I moved on to another Sunday League team, which was Interwood.
Yeah.
And then it was in that team, me, Bradley Johnson, and Colin Kazim Richards. So we was all in the same Sunday League side, which is good, and we won a lot of trophies from that. And so he was my idol. And then growing up, I supported Newcastle.
Mm-hmm.
So I up until about 9-10 years old, I didn't watch football. Didn't have any interest in watching football. Just wanted to play. Didn't really know about the teams. Didn't really care, if I was being honest. And then when your friends start supporting teams, and then you got family members who support certain teams and that. So I just went against the grain, really, and saw that Newcastle were doing really well. And I think it was 95-96 season when they nearly won the league, playing fantastic football, entertaining football. And that's the team that I followed, really. Sort of found fans how nutty they were, middle of December, their tops off, swinging it around. It made me really, really get into football, and that's where it started from. And I've been a Newcastle fan ever since.
How did you end up in the Norwich youth set up?
So that was it was like what do you call it? They had like different areas, different communities. So we was East London, Norwich, and we had quite a good side. We used to go down to Colney Heath. I think the training ground is Colney Heath, and play tournaments there, and really perform. And then the head guy who was running it, I think it was Dave Massey or something Massey. Anyway, he left to go to Arsenal, took over Arsenal, and then from there it just folded. That little section just folded.
Do tell us a little bit more, Charlie, about your days at Spurs and who coached you, and what were who were in your teams that went on to make a name for themselves in the game like you did?
So when I was under 17, I had Jimmy Neighbour, who unfortunately passed away. He was a great coach. And then I had Patsy Holland, who obviously famous winger for West Ham, and now I think he does some stuff for Arsenal. Two great coaches, old school coaches, believed in the fundamentals, of the game, and really improved you as a player and as a person as well. So it was hard, but it was really good and really enjoyable. And we had who made it? So we had Phil Eiffel, who went on to play for the first team, then played for Millwall and a few other clubs. We had Danny Stevens, who went to play for, I think it was Torquay, was his most famous thing. He went and played for them a few times. We had Andrew Bartram, who played for Portsmouth, Wimbledon, a few other clubs. Who else did we have? We had Mark Wright, who is on the TV now. Yep. So we had Mark Wright. So we had a really good. I'm trying to think. Jamie O'Hara. We had Jamie O'Hara as well. So we had a good youth side, and I'm sure there's a couple of others who made appearances, which I'm trying to remember. But alongside that, we had Jack Magoma, who played for Birmingham, stuff like that. So we had a good couple of age groups. We had Adam Smith coming through. So yeah, we had a really good side. They had Kieran McKenna, who was playing a year up, who's now manager of Ipswich. So we ended up having a lot of players who ended up having not a bad career.
Who would you say was the best player you played with at Spurs as a whole?
Adel Taarabt. Adel Taarabt, when he come over, was unbelievable. The most talented footballer I've come across, really. And what he can do is something that I could only dream about. How he manipulates the ball, how he can just glide by people and create something out of nothing. So he was definitely the best player technically that I've ever played with.
You did make a number of loan moves whilst you were at Spurs, Charlie. How did those improve your game?
A lot. Well, it made me grow up very quickly. So the first loan I went to was Chesterfield, and I went up there on the Thursday night obviously probably didn't even know where Chesterfield was at that point. Drove up there, went to the ground Friday morning. They didn't know where they were training. So I had to hang about and wait for them to find out where we were training. Went to some park, done a little bit of training, then got told I have to have a suit and tie. Didn't know anything about that before. So I had to get my mum and dad to drive up the next morning with a suit and tie before the game. So I wore that. We lost 1-0 and then the manager got sacked. So then I was like, all right, so welcome to football. And then then we had a game on a Tuesday against Swansea away, and I got injured, and then that was my season done. So that was my first loan. So that was a big wake up call into what real football was about. So I've done that, and then I went on loan to Leyton Orient. I think it was Leyton Orient the next one for a whole season, which was really good. Martin Ling was the manager, local club for me. You know, used to go down there as a kid watching them play. So it was special club. And, you know, that was really good. We had a really good team, really good environment, really good players, really good dressing room. So I really learned how to cope with first team football playing for a whole season. And that really put me in good stead. And then coming back, and then I ended up signing for him the following season.
Was leaving Spurs hard, or did you see the permanent move to Orient the right time for regular first team?
Yeah, that was my thing. I think it was definitely the right time. I think I was 2021 at that point, and I thought, yeah, this is the right time to say thanks a lot, Spurs. Like you've made me the player that I am now. You know, professional player, and now it's time to create my own path. And I think joining Orient was definitely the right decision.
And it was Geraint Williams that signed you, and you worked under Russell Slade. How did those managers impact your early first team football career?
Geraint Williams was a massive one for me because he taught me what a left back should be defensively. So he worked a lot on me, on my positioning, on how to defend 1v1, my position in relation to the centre backs and to the relations of the winger and stuff like that. So he helped me a lot, and then Russell Slade was just amazing in terms of his enthusiasm, the way he managed the whole squad. I mean, you could see the way that we went on that FA Cup run. We got through to I think it was the 5th, 6th round. I can't remember what it was, either 5th or 6th, and it was such a special time for the club. And you know, Slady was a massive part of that.
How did the loan move to Dean Court come about?
So that come about. It was actually Slady. Actually, he pulled me after training and said, "Bournemouth, I've bid for you, but it hasn't been accepted. It's nowhere near where we value you. So that's it." So I was like, all right. Didn't really take much notice of it, if I'm being honest. I just went, okay, thanks very much. And then it got to the Friday, and they said, I'll come back in for you. I was like, okay. He said, but it's still nowhere near enough. Okay, Gaffer, no worries. And then played the game on a Saturday. Then it come to the Tuesday, the following Tuesday, and he went, okay, the bid's been accepted. Bid's been accepted. You're going to go down there. Like you decide what you do. So then I had a phone call from my agent. Bournemouth playing on that Tuesday night. I think it was on the Wednesday night against Gillingham. You know, when Harry Arter scored that worldie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I went to watch that with my dad. Got there. I think sat next to Harry Arter's dad. My dad speaking with his dad. And they're both cabbies, so they were chatting away and stuff like that, saying, "Oh, you got to come." But before that, Stephen Purchase called me. So I was with Perchy at Leyton Orient, and then he went back to Bournemouth and he called me and he said, Chaz, he said, you got to come. He said, honestly, you come. He said, you won't want to leave. He said, it's a fantastic place. He said, fantastic club. He said, you got to come down. I was like, okay. Perchy, let me watch a game first. So I was like, all right. So then went there on a Wednesday, watched it, missed Harry Arter's goal, but heard it was a worldie. Then travelled down on the Thursday, met Lee Bradbury, got shown all around the ground, what the vision was from the club. Obviously, just got taken over, what they wanted to achieve, explained that we want to be a championship club within 3 years. And that's all I really need to know, really, that because I had ambitions to play as high as I could. So that's all that I really needed to know. So everything got done on the Thursday. Then I trained on the Friday, met the team. Obviously, the characters we had there. It was a massive squad. I remember walking in there. I think, so many players, And then we trained on a Friday, and then played on a Saturday against, I think it was Oldham. Anyway, we drew 0-0. It was a terrible game, really bad. But I was just happy that I got it over the line, and then moving forward, really.
What were Lee Bradbury and, of course, Super Big Fletch like as a management duo?
Well, Fletch, first thing he said was that I was assistant manager, but I'm not anymore. So he went back to being a player just before I come. And so I never knew him as a manager, but Bradders was really good. You know, he brought me in, he brought Steve Cook in, he brought Simon Francis in, all within a short space of time. And that just shows the level of calibre he saw in us. And, you know, to see what we achieved as back three out of the four was a testament to him, which I don't know if he gets credit for or not.
No, because we interviewed him recently, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
And we said about that, didn't we? The signings that he made that carried on at the club through to the Premier League. But unfortunately, Bradders got sacked eventually, didn't he? And Groves and Brooksy come in. How did the coaching and change, and how did the preparation for match days change?
Yeah, it changed quite a bit, which is fine. You know, every manager and coaches have their own way of preparing the players. And then we signed Frank the Moose. We signed Frank, and we signed Davids as well.
That's it, Edgar Davids.
So that was a different dynamic, because that's probably the first. Yes, Davids is Coven, yeah. So we signed them two, and you know, Frank was just unlucky, if I'm being honest. He had some real talent, top guy, but it just didn't work. The league just didn't suit him. So that was tough, and it was a tough period, because as I said, there was lots of players, lots of egos. Even in League One, there was lots of egos, and people were frustrated, I guess, and I think it was just too much, too many players for Brooksy and Grovesy to deal with, if I'm being honest.
Is there any games or performances that stand out for you during the early days at Bournemouth?
Good or bad?
Both. Let's go for both.
The bad one was Crawley away. That was a bad one, from what I can remember. That was a bad point from me. No, if I'm being honest, there was, until Eddie and Jason and that come back, I wouldn't say we was doing really well. But definitely the lowest that I felt was Swindon away as well. I can remember Swindon away and Crawley away was the two that just stand out in my mind at the minute. Yeah, before Eddie and Jason come back.
So with the return of Eddie and JT, what impact did that have on you as a player and as the whole club?
Massive. I mean, where do you start? It was just the whole club just seemed to turn around, and I think who was here? Who would have been there? Like Pewey, I think, was still there from when Eddie was there before. Harry Arter and a couple of others. Brett went away, didn't he? Come back. But there was a few, and they were like, like you wait to see what training's like. Training's going to be so good. And then as soon as they come back, training ramped up from 0 to 100. And it was so good. I was so happy because the way that I trained was the way that I played. So every day I wanted to go in and try and improve. And I was like that every single day. I don't like wasting a day. Even now as a coach, I don't like people wasting a day because it's life's too short. Life's too short to waste. So, yeah, I just loved every single minute of it. Like hard work, I loved it. Loved the running, loved training, loved improving. And you could see the improvement, not only me, but the whole squad. And the people that didn't want him to improve or didn't want to apply themselves fell by the wayside quite quickly.
Were you quite surprised that Eddie turned it round so quickly, considering when he did come in, we were down the bottom of League One?
I can't say because I didn't work with him before. So I couldn't really say what it was like before. Was I surprised or not? It was just how he worked and how we responded to him, I guess. We was quite, apart from Fletcher, I guess Perchy as well, it was quite a young group. So we was quite enthusiastic and like wanting to ego. But the main thing about us was that we all wanted to improve. We wanted to be up the table. We didn't want to be down the bottom. And that showed with the way not only we trained, but the way that we played as well.
After Eddie come back, what was the best performance of that season for yourself and as a team?
Trying to remember, it's a long time ago, isn't it? It is a long time ago. It is a long time ago. I didn't think I'd be down talking about it. What was the best game? Can't really tell you. Oh, wait a minute. We played Hartlepool away. I remember I was struggling with my foot. And I think I broke my foot, but I carried on. I was playing and having a few weeks. And we was that good that obviously I could play with a broken foot. And there was a problem. I think I lasted 60 minutes and we got clapped off by their fans at half-time. Hartlepool away, yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, and it was icy, it was cold, it was freezing. But but we played really well that day. That's the one that sticks in my mind.
Of course, we made the championship, and of course, how did you find it differed from League One before and League Two? And from a fan's point of view, honestly, we thought that you took to the championship like a duck to water. Were there any changes that you had to make to your game?
No, I think we was prepared as a team and as a squad really because of the way that we trained. I think we was training like a championship squad at that point in time. So we was prepared and going through that season, we got halfway through the season and actually late than that, probably about March time, and we was in a good place.
Yeah.
And then I think I got injured, and I think Tommy Elphick got injured at the same time, and we ended up 10th, didn't we? And I think there was two or three other people that got injured, and we just fell off it at the end, and we was really disappointed that we didn't get in the playoffs with our first season. So going into the following season, we had the bit between our teeth really to really push on and kick on and fear no one, which was our main motto. We didn't fear anyone.
Who did you feel was your most challenging opponent in the championship? Which player did you come up against that you thought today's going to be a bit of a challenge for me?
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, Adama Traore, just because he's so quick. I mean, he was young at that time, so he didn't have the qualities he has now in terms of the end product, but he was still really, really quick, like he is now. So that's always going to give you problems. But apart from that, I mean, I think anyone who kept moving, who really thought about the game, and that, like, I think he was always going to give you problems. But mostly at home, any home game, I think we was all comfortable in the way that we played, knew where everyone was. So we was always up for the challenge. So I wouldn't say I was really like scared about anyone. It was just I was up for the challenge, and if someone got the better of me on the day, then well done to them.
What was it like battling with Ian Hart for that left back spot?
You know, that was, for me, that was great. You know, having the quality and the career that Harty had, and just to watch him. I used to watch him train, used to watch him play. If I wasn't playing, if he was playing, see what he was doing, see if I could pick up anything that would make me a better player. And to have the privilege of being part of a squad with Ian Hart was a massive thing for me, and I learned so much from him, which he probably don't even know about. But it's something that I just watching, I said, Harry. I mean, the qualities he's had with his left foot is frightening.
So the 2014-15 season will obviously live in everyone's memory. But for someone who played a part in it, what's your memories that really stand out for you?
Was it 8-0 that season?
Yeah, that was the Birmingham away game, wasn't it?
That was unbelievable, that game. I think everyone was trying to score. It was one of the it was a perfect game, basically. Everything just went our way, and then there was another one. Was the Blackpool game that season, or was that the previous season when we won?
I think that was that season, wasn't it?
6-1, 5-1, 6-1.
It was that season.
Did you go to that game?
Yeah.
So it was. We turned up, and it was like a beach.
Yeah,
sand everywhere, absolute beach. We all looked at each other, going, "Oh my god, what the hell is going on here?" And I think they've done it on purpose.
Yeah.
So we just done like we all did. Just okay, we'll just get on with it, try and play. And we played some unbelievable football that day, and that sticks out in my mind as well, just because of the way that they tried to make it even, which is down to them. But we didn't like drop our standards. We kept the way we was. So that was two that stick in my mind. And then the famous ones, we got Bolton at home. Mm-hmm. So on the Saturday, when all the results just went our way out of nowhere, and then going into that Monday, I just remember walking in the dressing room, looking around, and I just went, "Yeah, we're fine. We're going to win today." And then as soon as Pewey scored that goal, then we was flying. There was no way we was losing that game. And then and then all the celebration and everything afterwards, the whole town for the whole week was such a great place to be. And then going into the Saturday against Charlton, obviously we didn't expect to be crowned champions, so we was in full flow. Some great football, scored quite early, scored a great goal. Our first goal was really good. Yeah, so I saw a great first goal, and then 3-0 up, and then we was playing keep ball, really, if I'm being honest. We was playing keep ball for a bit, and then all of a sudden you just hear the crowd start cheering, and then all our benches up cheering and that, and then I was on the opposite side. So then the news just comes filtering across. And now I'm bombing forward. I'm trying to score. I'm trying to get on the score sheet just to get my name on that score sheet. And, you know, the celebrations after was just so good because it was unexpected, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
It was just the realization of being crowned champions is something that not many players get to do or get to achieve. So to actually win a trophy in your footballing career is a big thing. And
it's probably one of the hardest leagues in the world to win because it is so competitive, the Championship. But, you know, the way and the manner that we handled that right at the very end of that season was just amazing. I'm sure the celebrations went long into the night. Is it fair to say?
Yes, it definitely did. And while I'm on, I just want to say you got to think about the players that didn't play a lot during that season, who were so crucial, who like didn't kick up a fuss, didn't just got on with it, knew the team, it was good for the team, and so I think Adam Smith didn't play a lot, Dan Gosling didn't play a lot, Junior Stanislas didn't play a lot, and I'm sure there's more, but them three off the top of my head who went on to have good careers with Bournemouth didn't play a lot during that season, but were so crucial to us as a squad and kept the squad harmony. And it was, I just wanted to say that they were, so it's not only the 11 that were on the pitch, it was the whole squad that got us promoted. And the celebrations were very, very good after.
Is that as far as you can go?
Yeah, no, I think I'm sure we went to Vegas yeah, we did. We went to Vegas that summer. So that was really good, because that's a combination of everyone who was part of it, going out there together and celebrating together, which was the whole point in it. If you win something, then you have to celebrate it, because it doesn't happen very often.
Definitely. We were celebrating anyway.
That's it, yeah. Everyone was celebrating. It's a great,
very
great
heavily
time
as well.
Yeah.
But how did it feel to finally reach the big time and make your debut in the Premier League? What was that first game like?
It was really, I think, I wouldn't say surreal, because we was at home. But the thing that changed the most between the Championship and the Premier League was the media. Like the media, you had to do a whole, was it a day? Near enough a whole day of doing media stuff, which I've never done before. So that whole thing, then you start to build up, and then you see yourself on the Fantasy Premier League and stuff like that. You see yourself on the TV a lot more. You see yourself on FIFA. You see yourself on playing cards and trading cards and Panini stickers and stuff like that. And that's when you think, oh, wow, like what an achievement. And that just makes you want to kick on even further.
Yeah, definitely.
Being the underdogs, where did the squad get the belief from that little old Bournemouth could stay in the big time and compete with the big boys?
Our first meeting. So our first meeting was, we was all in a room, and then Eddie put on the chart, what advantages do we have going into the Premier League, and what disadvantage do we have going to the Premier League? And we ended up with more advantages than there was disadvantages. So from then, we took great belief in that, and like we do, like the way that we train and the way we are together, and our preparations and our hunger, basically, to want to stay in the league. And we knew it was going to be tough. We knew there was going to be tough times ahead, but with us all together, anything is possible, as we say. Then there was always a goal.
Who would you say was the best player that you played against, and why?
God, there's too many. I mean, you can say Kevin De Bruyne for one. He doesn't. If you actually watch him, he's not the fastest. He's not the biggest. He's not the strongest. He's not the quickest. But he's a fantastic player. He just gets himself in the right position, and he can cut. He's doing it. He's still doing it now. It's just knife through butter. He can play them splitting passes. And if you judge yourself like the teams lower down or in the Championship, and you look at the top players, the levels, it's just a big difference. There is a big difference, because there's 11 of them who make a difference to the team, not just one or two players. There's 11 of them. I mean, if you can look at Man City, you look at Edison, and you look at Alisson as well. The way that they start attacks or can assist, it puts you on the back foot already before you even started, because you think you've got them penned in, and then one kick and they're on the goal.
Actually, mentioning about Manchester City, I think we've got to mention something at this point. And yeah, that goal, it must rank as your best goal, but also is heralded as one of the best goals in the Premier League ever. Just tell us what went through your mind that day.
It was. I think it was the third game of the season, and we had again in a meeting, and I'm sure we didn't have a shot on target that day. That's in them first two games. I think we didn't start the season off great, and then I thought to myself, look, if I get a chance, I'm going to have a shot. If I get a chance, just like normal, if you get a chance, have a shot. And then Gozzo run down the line, put the ball in, and then I can't remember who headed it out, and it was bobbling up nicely. I just thought, oh, yeah, why not? And then, just went in. Nice, and it went in.
Bet you couldn't do that again if you tried, could you?
No, I think I don't know if I have tried or not, but I probably have tried a few times since then.
I was at the gym the other day, and they're still showing it on the TV there. All these years later.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice moment for me personally to have, and it was a fantastic strike, and say if I try and do it again, I probably can't do it again, but it was one of them moments that will live with me forever.
What was the best overall team performance that you were involved in during the Premier League era?
There was a few. Man United one sticks out for me because of the significance with Harry Arter and his daughter. That's a big game for me personally, because I lived next door to Harry Arter at the time, so it was a big personal thing for me. Again, beating Newcastle 3-1 and me scoring, that was a big personal one for me. Obviously, scoring against the team that I supported at the Gallagher end, it was a nice feeling. What else? Beating Chelsea at the Bridge was really good, and then beating them at home as well and scoring when my dad was ill was obviously a special moment for me, because I was having a tough time. I was having a tough time during that season. With dad being in hospital and stuff like that, and suffering with cancer. So that was a tough period for me, but that was a special game. And there's so many. Aston Villa, when I come back from my left knee injury, beating them 1-0, and unfortunately doing my right knee in the following game. But there's so many games that were, if you're talking about team performance, I think every time we won, it was a team performance. It wasn't really an individual brilliance. There might be one or two, but if you're looking at our whole history, it's definitely been a team performance.
The great thing about our teams were that everybody got on so well together. And you could tell that they were all best mates. Was there one particular best mate that you had, or was it that we were just such a solid unit?
No, I think we were such a solid unit. If I wanted to know, I could pick up the phone, speak to anyone, and it'd be the same reaction, I'm sure, from them trying to call me. It was we had such a special group, and you don't really realise it until you leave. Or until you go somewhere else and you hear other people say, we had such a good dressing room. Honestly, the way that we not controlled it, but the way that we behaved with ourselves, the way we respected each other, the way we helped each other on and off the pitch, the way we trained, the way we worked hard. It was a special dressing room, and that was driven by everyone, not just the coaches, the management. It was driven by all of us players as well.
What are your thoughts on VAR? Obviously, that's come into play now, and I think the last season you were with us. I think it just started, hadn't it? VAR. Yeah. From a player's perspective, how do you feel VAR?
I've never played a game in it with VAR, but if it takes you 3 and 4 minutes to make a decision, for me, that's something's wrong.
Yeah,
Something's wrong. If it's not clear cut, but if the ball's gone in, it's gone in. If it's offside, it's offside. But if you're having to take 3 or 4 minutes to decide whether it's offside or onside, it should just be onside. There shouldn't be any. Let's not try and make it 0-0s and stuff like that. It's just give them the goal. If it takes you 3-4 minutes to work out if something's onside or offside. The only problem I have with it at the minute is the handball rule. I mean, if you look at Jay-Z's penalty the other week.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to slide without putting your trailing arm out? It's just impossible.
Yeah,
it's impossible. And some of the handballs that have been shown or given, should I say, has been like you go, come on, like it's very, very harsh. But if they're consistent with it, you can kind of understand it. But still, for me, it's in the wrong situation at the minute. So that needs to be changed.
Was it special to return to White Hart Lane all those years after you left as a player?
It was, yeah. It was. I mean, I played Youth Cup there for a few times, and just going there and watching all the players play, and obviously trying to get there one day, and to actually go back. And they were kind enough to say former Spurs player. Obviously, I didn't make a first team appearance, but it was in the academy, and it was nice. Got a nice clap and stuff like that, and it was nice. Probably not for me, but probably for my family who was in the crowd as well. It was nice for them.
So obviously we mentioned the Man City goal. What other goals have you scored in your career that are amongst your favourites?
The Newcastle goal, which I spoke about, was good. The whole goal when we won 5-0.
Oh yeah.
5-0 on like half volley. The Arsenal goal, the Chelsea goal, which I spoke about. I'm trying to find the Middlesbrough goal. I think was a bit underrated.
Yeah.
Keep showing lads that, because that's quite a good goal, which doesn't really get the recognition I think it deserves. Trying to think of any more. Yeah, probably them ones. Them ones are up there. I haven't scored any tap-ins, which is, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But defenders normally don't score tap-ins.
They're always quite special, your goals.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, don't score tap-ins. It was they were always nice strikes.
So the which injury was it? Is it kneecap injury?
Kneecap dislocation. Yes, I've done it on both.
On both. So obviously that kept you out for majority of the season, didn't it? That year.
Yeah, it ended up being 14 months. So my left one was quite straightforward. So it I went crossing training and it literally just popped in and out. Didn't think anything of it. Got up, walked back into the physio room, and they were like, "Oh, you're gonna have to go and see a surgeon." I was like, "All right." So I was a bit worried, and then went down there. He was like, "Yeah, you need surgery because it could happen again, and it could be worse." So I was like, "Okay." It was towards the back end of the season, so I was like, "Don't miss too many games." And then that's when I come back. I've done my own pre-season. Then ended up playing against Lazio, I think, for a majority of it, and then sitting on the bench of the first league game. They played the second league game against Aston Villa, which we won 1-0, and then started the next game of Man City. That's when I done my right one. So my right one was worse because then the cartilage behind my knee come off, and it was just floating about in my knee. So it was a career-ending injury, the surgeon said. But he said, look, obviously the more you do in the rehab, the obviously better it is. So what he did was, I'll show you photos if you want. So what he did was, he cut the knee, flipped over the kneecap, found the bit of cartilage, pricked it back on, flipped it back, stabilized it, stitched it up. And then, if I just get it up. So this is what it looked like. Can you see that? Where am I going here? So that's what it looked like.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So because it was such a big cut, they had to staple it. So they stapled it, and then I had to. I don't know if you can see this. Where is it? Do you know this machine? Do you know that machine? Have you ever seen that machine before?
I haven't. No.
No, can't say I have.
No. So that just moves your knee in and out. So I was on that for about 10 hours a day, 8 to 10 hours a day, for the first 12 weeks. So I was on that. Obviously, getting in a routine again, up in the morning, 2 hours throughout the day, and then sleeping was tough, but it was what I needed to do, and then so it started from there. Then the staples were out, and then started the rehab process, and then I was fortunate enough that I got a stem cell injection, which I think was really helped. So I ended up getting a stem cell injection in the January, which regrows the cells. So they make them like fresh cartilage. So they grew in the lab and then they injected them back in. And then, so then the cartilage becomes like a baby cartilage.
Yeah.
Now you have to like proper compress it, which makes it mature. So then I had to build up from there. And then it took a long time, but I ended up getting back into playing situation around the end of August, and then obviously I was out of contract at the time, so it might have been July, August, and then then I got told by the club. So this is when it gets a bit sad, not sad, but I get a bit annoyed about it. So the club said, if you play in a reserve game, they call it return to play. So if you get through this amount, which was 45 minutes, if you get through 45 minutes, there'll be a contract. Okay, no problem. Played in 45 minutes, scored against Yeovil. Oh, no. The club want now you to do like a proper return to play contract. So you got to do 60 minutes, 70 minutes, 90 minutes. Okay, not a problem. Done 75 minutes. The next game, still no contract. No, we're going to wait. Then I've done 90 minutes against, I think it was Eastleigh. I've done 90 minutes against Eastleigh. I remember Jay-Z was playing in that game. Done 90 minutes against Eastleigh. No contract. So then I just left, and that was the end of it. Out of all them years, that was the end of Bournemouth, which was quite a sad way of it to end, if I'm being honest. Not the way that I expected it to end, but football moves on.
Who are you still in contact with, Charlie, from your days at Dean Court? Are you in contact with the likes of Cookie, Frano?
Yeah, Cookie. Cookie. I still speak to Frano. Pewey. Obviously, can't not speak to Pewey. Matty Ritchie. Wee Man, I've spoke to a couple of times. I spoke to everyone. Wills I spoke to. Hates I've spoke to. Sirs I've spoke to. Brett I speak to a lot. Still, there's still loads of people I speak to. Like whenever I can, or every now and again, I still try and drop them a message saying how are you and that and what you're up to. But you always kind of, obviously I've got Gozzo. Gozzo's still here.
Yeah,
excellent.
See Gozzo near enough every day. Smudge I spoke to last couple of weeks. So you still speak to. Listen, you can't speak to everyone, but you're trying to speak to as many as you can.
So obviously moving on from Bournemouth, Shrewsbury was your next stop. Was it a shock playing lower league football again, or had it changed much since you last played in those divisions? Or
Yeah, well, it was during COVID, so there was no fans, which was the most disappointing for me. It was, I wouldn't say it was a shock. It was, I just wanted to play football again because I didn't want someone to tell me that I was retired. I wanted to go out on my own terms. So I went up there like a kid again, really. Just happy to be playing, happy to be out there, happy to be running about the pitch. And Shrewsbury is a really, really good club. Kind of like Bournemouth. It reminds me a lot of Bournemouth's like a local club, local supporters trying to improve themselves in every aspect. And, you know, I've really got a fond liking for Shrewsbury.
And then, of course, you moved south again, moved to Portsmouth.
Yes.
And you played in the Papa John's Trophy final. How did you enjoy your time at Pompey?
That was tough, if I'm being honest. Yeah, that was really tough. Like off the pitch, like moving, and yeah, it was just unfortunately, it was just one of them things. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. And again, I think if there were fans in it, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But the atmosphere that I felt going into the club and everything, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah. And
it was just one of the things. It's just, I'm not right now. I'm not saying I'm right in the way it is, but it just didn't feel right for me. And but I just wish that the fans were in, because I'm guaranteed it would have made me a lot happier just to be playing in front of the fans.
Yeah, definitely.
You ended your playing days at Colchester. Did you feel that the playing days were coming to an end then? You know, what finally made you decide to retire?
Well, I started coaching at Watford during my time at Colchester, and then I was finding that I was enjoying playing. I was enjoying playing for Colchester. Great set of lads. You know, again, great club. It's got a great platform, foundations to build on, that club, which I feel needs to be done. But you know, the coaching was coming more prevalent for me. I was enjoying coaching more than I was playing, and that's what kind of geared me to wanting to be a coach. I've always wanted to be a coach, even when I was playing. I always wanted to be a manager, and it's just something that when I got the opportunity, I was very fortunate at Watford to be given the opportunity, then I just thought it was definitely the right time. And you know, the transition is really, really quick, really easy, really simple, and you know, it gives me a great starting point for my next career.
And of course, as everybody can see, like you say, you're at Watford at the moment. Yeah. Are you still doing your coaching badges there?
I've finished. I've just got the pro to do, which hopefully I will do in the next couple of years, whenever I can get on the course, because you know, it's such a small course to be on. But hopefully I'll get on in the next few years. But apart from that, I've done everything else. So I'm geared. I'm ready to go into management if need be, if I get the opportunity. But at the minute I'm really enjoying doing the under-18s here at Watford. You know, it's a great first point for me. It's a great learning curve. Everything going well at the minute, and hopefully that continues.
Excellent stuff.
And just one final one for you, Charlie. So obviously your long-term ambition then, staying coaching, become a manager. Do you have a future Bournemouth manager on our hands here then?
Hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, that'd be. I mean, if if there was an opportunity, then it's definitely something that I wouldn't turn down lightly. You know, it's it's the club that's in my heart. It's it gave me the opportunity to be a Premier League player, and gave me so much joy in football. And then if I can give something back, then it'll be a pleasure.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today, Charlie. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and all the very, very best at Watford. And hopefully one day, fingers crossed, we'll see you in a Bournemouth jacket on the touchline as manager, teaching the future how to score goals like that one against Man City, because we'd love to see it again, to be honest.
Thanks very much for having me. It's been really good.
Thank you so much, Charlie. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers. Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Bye.
Cheers, Charlie. And thank you, everybody, for joining us on this show. Please remember to hit the like, the subscribe, the bell button, share with all your friends, and share on any forums that you might go on to. Also, do check out our other interviews. Of course, one player that Charlie did play with was Steve Cook, and we did an interview with him almost a year to the day as this one is being released. We've also had, of course, James Hayter on recently. We've had Lee Bradbury, of course, the manager. We even had Biggin on as well. He, of course, told his story just over a year ago as well. So please do check out those interviews. We will have much, much more coming up soon. We are going to be focusing on World Cup as well. So do check out videos around that. Of course, we do cherry picking with Matt and Sam and Manny. Will get involved as well. So please, please do check out the channel and hit that bell, hit that subscribe, give us a like. Tell us what you think of this interview. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you on behalf of myself and Matt. Thank you for checking out the video. Up the cherries, and we'll see you very, very soon. Thank you for joining us.